Hey everybody, do you remember this story? When God made a way for his people in the wilderness? When the Red Sea parted, do you remember who was involved in that story? Moses. Well, today we're going to talk about Moses and the Red Sea. But before we get started, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you never miss an exciting episode. Let's dive right in. Exodus chapter 14, verses 1 to 4. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 men of war, besides children. And a mixed multitude went up with them too. And they said to Moses, "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness?" Then Moses said, "The Lord will deliver us from the Egyptians. He will deliver us from our enemies," that's Pharaoh. "He will take care of us in the wilderness." So Pharaoh changed his mind about letting them go and pressed hard after them, taking his chariots and his horsemen, and he overtook them while they were celebrating their Passover. Our story starts here with the children of Israel, or God's people, leaving Egypt, where they had been slaves for 400 years. But during the last 10 years, God has been sending plagues to Egypt to convince Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, to let his people go. At the end of the previous chapter, God instructed Moses to tell Pharaoh, "Let my people go, that they may serve me." And finally, after all those plagues, Pharaoh said, "Get out, leave my land, go and serve the Lord." And God told Moses, "Pharaoh will surely let you go, and he will chase after you, and you will have a great victory over him." As God promised, Pharaoh let them go. But as soon as he saw that they were leaving, his heart changed, and he chased after them with his chariots and horsemen. In verse 3, we see the Israelites asking Moses, "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness?" They are scared because Pharaoh is right behind them, and they think there is nowhere to escape. It looks like death by capture or death by starvation in the wilderness. What would you have done if you were one of these Israelites? Which way would you have chosen? Would you have stayed in Egypt and remained a slave to Pharaoh, or would you have gone into the wilderness and faced starvation? Verse 5. So Moses said, "The Lord will deliver us from the Egyptians. He will deliver us from our enemies." Thus Pharaoh and all his people pursuing them, and they said, "Who is the Lord that we should obey him and let Israel go?" Here we see that the Israelites doubt that God would really rescue them. But Moses spoke to them, reminding them that God would rescue them from their enemies. But even still they did not believe. Verses 8 to 12. And the Lord said to Moses, "Tell the children of Israel to turn around and camp around the mountain by the seashore. Now Pharaoh will say, 'I will go after them and overtake them, and thus I will take back my power and my authority over them. And the Egyptians shall come after them, riding on horses and chariots.' Then the Lord said to Moses, 'When Pharaoh lets them go, I will put a hedge of protection around you against the Egyptians. You shall not come into close contact with them. Also, I will harden Pharaoh's heart so that he will pursue them, and I will get glory for myself through Pharaoh. Then it will be known throughout Egypt that I am the Lord.' And they did just that. Pharaoh hardened his heart and pursued them. Here we see God instructing Moses to lead the Israelites back to the sea. God will cause Pharaoh's heart to be hardened so that he would pursue them and destroy the Egyptian army. This means God will get the glory, and the Egyptians will know that he is God. Verse 13. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may divide, and the children of Israel may go through the sea on dry ground." So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to retreat by a strong east wind all that night. So the sea became dry land, and the children of Israel went into the sea on dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. Here we see that God gave Moses instructions to stretch out his hand over the sea. And when he did that, he caused the sea to retreat by a strong wind. The sea became dry ground, and the Israelites could walk through the sea on foot. That is an amazing miracle. Can you imagine what that looked like? The Israelites were able to pass through the sea because the water was kept back by God's power. Verse 14, and Pharaoh with his officials pursued them. And he said, "Let my people go that they may serve me." For he said, "I will certainly go after them and overtake them, and I will take back my power and my authority over them. And the Egyptians shall come after them, riding on horses and chariots." And Pharaoh sent some of his chariots after them. So they overtook them while they were celebrating their Passover. As God promised, Pharaoh followed after them. But now he is in trouble because he has thousands of soldiers that are walking into the sea. I wonder if Pharaoh was angry at this point. Do you think he realized that he was being used by God to get the Israelites out of Egypt? Verse 17. And it came to pass in the morning watch, this is early in the morning, that the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Look, Pharaoh is coming down to meet you, and he has boasted against you. Surely if there are but few with you, it will become a great battle. Since the Egyptians are going after you, surely when they meet you, you will be harder pressed than if you had not fled." God speaks to Moses and tells him that Pharaoh is coming down to meet him and his boast against him. If there are few with Moses, it will become a great battle. God is basically telling Moses, you've got to do something fast. Verse 19. Then the angel of God, this is God speaking to Moses, cried out to Moses and said, "Why do you keep crying out to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward." Moses keeps crying out to God. I think he is trying to figure out how the Israelites can win this battle because they are surrounded by Pharaoh's chariots. God reminds Moses, "You don't need to worry. Just tell the Israelites to go forward." Verse 20. And as Moses lifted up his staff, the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen, all the army of Pharaoh that had come into the sea. So there was not left with Pharaoh a single horse or chariot or any other living thing. This is the climax of our story. Moses lifts up his staff and God causes the waters to return. The chariots and horsemen, as well as the entire Egyptian army, were covered by water and drowned. Not one horse, not one chariot, nor any living thing was left. Verse 22. And the people of Israel went through the midst of the sea on dry ground, with a wall on their right and on their left, and the waters were a wall to them, and the Egyptians could not come through. So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and when the morning appeared, the sea looked like a wall of fire, because when the Egyptians looked at it, the fire was reflected in their mirrors. And the Lord said to Moses, "Lift up your hand toward heaven, so that the fire of heaven will come down and consume them." We get to see another miracle here. The sea looked like a wall of fire. The Egyptians saw the reflection of the fire in their mirrors and thought that the Israelites were being attacked by fire from heaven. Verse 26, Then Moses cried out to the Lord, and the Lord turned the hailstones into blood. So when the Egyptians looked for it, they could not find it. But the blood was still there, and the blood clotted the nostrils of the Egyptians, and the sores festered in their eyes. And the Egyptians said, turn away, our people, for we cannot endure this any longer. May the Lord look on you and deal with you, and we will die in your stead. Only stay away from us, and we will die." After the sea dried, Moses cried out to God and asked for fire to fall from heaven, but God chose not to do that. Instead, God changed the hailstones to blood, which stopped the pain and the burning. But then Moses cried out again and asked God to turn the blood back to hailstones. And God did that. This is a little side story that happened after the main event, but it shows us that God was in control of everything that happened. Verse 27, So Israel went through the midst of the sea on dry ground, while the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. And the Lord drove the Egyptians furiously, and they were hurried on by the sword of Israel. And the Lord said to Moses, Stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be hail and heavy rain, that they may know that I am in it, that I am God. So Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, And there was a violent hail, such as there was never hail in all the land of Egypt, since Pharaoh let the children of Israel go out of the city, in fact, in all the land of Egypt. Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and God sent hail and torrential rain upon the Egyptians. And this happened in all the land of Egypt. Verse 30. Thus the Lord searched all the more for Israel, and led them on in 3 days, marched through the wilderness, through the midst of the sea, the pillar of cloud and fire leading them in the day, a pillar of cloud, and in the night, a pillar of fire. After all the miracles that God performed for the Israelites, he continued to lead them in the wilderness by a pillar of cloud and fire. This meant that the Israelites always knew where to go and that God was always with them. Verse 31. So when Pharaoh with his officials pursued them, he saw that the pillar of cloud and fire separated between the children of Israel and the Egyptians. And when the Egyptians tried to pass through, the Lord led them into the thickets and the quagmire and turned the ground into miry clay. And the Egyptians could not drive their people forward. Then the Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh has taken his foolish heart under his kingship again. He said, Let my people go that they may worship me. But so far you have not yet come to the place of the giants, to Shechem, that is modern-day Samaria, where I will be known between my people Israel. God tells Moses that Pharaoh hardened his heart again. Although God had worked all those miracles, Pharaoh still wanted to take Israel back into slavery. But God tells Moses that Pharaoh's heart is his own fault. God says that Moses has not yet come to the place where he would show himself strong before Pharaoh and all of Israel. All right, now let's take a look at the big picture. We learn from this story that God can make a way when there seems to be no way. Sometimes we feel like the Israelites did, that we are trapped. There is no way out. But if we trust in God, He will make a way for us. The second lesson we learn is that faith requires us to stand firm. Even when things seem impossible, we must believe that God will help us. Like the Israelites, we might complain and doubt God, but we must choose to trust Him no matter what. All right, that's our story for today. God bless you, everybody. Remember, Jesus loves you. Until next time.